I've failed. The people of Brisbane deserve to know what's happening or planned for the area they live in, to be able to access accurate and unbiased updates that simply present the facts and don't tell you what to think about them. I'd love for the Brisbane Channel to be one such source for you, but I've failed to do that on multiple occasions, and we need to talk about it. My intentions have always been good. When you look at mainstream media, you may not notice the way they tell you what to think about the information they present. They'll introduce shocking footage, so before you even see it, they've already put the idea in your mind that you should be shocked by what you're about to see. And as most of the free-to-air channels are there to make money, the more outrage a story generates, the higher the ratings and the more they can charge for their ad slots. So on the Brisbane Channel, I've tried to be very careful with my words to avoid putting a value judgment on what's presented. But one pivotal moment in the history of this channel was an epic fail that flew in the face of everything I claim to be doing here on the Brisbane Channel. And it's something that has come back to bite me from time to time, so I figured I need to point it out so that we can recognize just how low a point in the channel's history it was, but also how it changed both me and this channel. I've always tried to see things in as much of their full complexity as I can. We as humans have the tendency to oversimplify things. Our worldview, personal values, political persuasion, and past experience all affect how we interpret the information we're presented with and how we judge other people's actions and motivations. And while I try to see past those things to try to understand or even find value in actions or beliefs I may not personally embrace, that certainly doesn't mean I have to like them or agree with them. However, when presenting information on this channel, I need to put all of that aside and just share the information, stripped of any opinion or judgment. So let's get to how I failed to do that massively. And that's before I even bring up how I've dropped the ball in another really important area. The low point happened in one of the Brisbane Channel's update videos. I had a story about dog attacks on posties, followed by something about Pauline Hanson's threat to take action against Brisbane City Councillor Emily Kim for labelling Hanson as a racist in a campaign email in the lead up to the last council election. Without going into detail, in very poor form, I segued from the story about vicious dogs to the story about Hanson with a less than neutral choice of words, and went on to address the racist judgment in what also revealed my personal opinion on the validity of that claim. Understandably, some viewers called me out about it, and rightfully so. That was the moment I made the decision to do all I could to make sure everything on the channel was as neutral and balanced as it could possibly be. But neutrality is one thing, accuracy is another, and that's another area I've failed in on multiple occasions. Honestly, one of those inaccuracies is so cringeworthy it's not even funny. I connected the Cross River Rail project with Brisbane City Council. The council oversees the buses, rail is the state government's domain. Another time I trusted something I'd read in a news article about Brisbane's traffic control system that turned out not to be true, and was called out on it by a couple of viewers. The credibility of the channel took a hit, but that's where my commitment to being different from other media outlets kicks in. Rather than trying to sweep it under the rug after a small, inconspicuously placed update is added, I own my mistakes and use them to strengthen my resolve to do better. I'm continually trying to lift my game when it comes to fact-checking. I found inaccuracies in something reported by the Courier Mail when preparing for the video on picking fruit in public areas. Now, I read the legislation and it says nothing like that. Instead, it refers to the common law right of abatement. And just last week found inaccurate details in a 7 News report on an unidentified flying object above southeast Queensland skies. But I need to point this out. I'm just one guy. While mainstream media have big budgets, hundreds of people working on research, filming, photographing, editing, fact-checking, marketing, and have massive influence, along with so many connections and contacts happy to take their calls, I am very limited as one person with a camera and a humble YouTube channel. But one strength of the channel is its community. While I can't be across everything happening right across Greater Brisbane in minute detail, there's people watching who have direct knowledge or experience to share that can bring more insight into anything discussed. And it's also you who keep me accountable. So maybe think about videos on this channel less as me telling you the way it is, and more as a conversation. I'll share what information I've been able to access, but I love when viewers have more information, detail, or even a different angle, because it's something closer to them. And that's where this channel can become something unlike any other source of information on what's actually going on across all 5 of Greater Brisbane's LGAs. My commitment to you is always to do all I can to raise the bar. Whether it's accuracy, credibility, neutrality, comprehensiveness, or accountability, I'll do all I can to make sure the Brisbane Channel only gets better and brings more value as we continue. I appreciate all your support and criticism when it's constructive, so do let me know what you think can make the channel even better. By the way, speaking of unconstructive criticism, let me call out the couple of people who accuse me of blindly parroting LNP narratives. Yes, a lot of my information is sourced from government releases, but I always put considerable focus on removing things like finger pointing and point scoring and language used to sensationalize or augment the facts. And trust me, official releases tend to be quite heavy-handed in that way. I just try to filter it down to the facts. So when the LNP state government release says, Crisafulli government releases damning report with new expert team to address Labor's DNA debacle, and everyone from Sky News to the ABC runs with it, here on the Brisbane Channel, it is the release of a report. The details contained in the report will tell you if it's damning or not. And I need to take the information contained in releases at face value, so if they say they're planning to do something, I'll tell you they're planning to do something. I won't guess about the likelihood of it actually happening or if they really mean it or not. I won't judge if it's good or bad. But I will also not hold back on highlighting arguments against what has been said that have been raised by other parties. All angles will be given equal respect regardless of how I personally feel about them. The main challenge in accessing those different views comes back to the channel not having the clout of mainstream media outlets, with a collection of phone numbers belonging to experts, politicians, and other stakeholders who are willing to talk. Sure, the channel gets over 100,000 views each month, but that doesn't mean organisations are keen to respond to my emails. Thankfully, I've made some good progress over the last year and am building those connections, but I'm still fighting for that on some fronts. Just the limitations that come from being just one guy with a camera and a humble YouTube channel. Anyway, hopefully I've set the record straight on a few things, and you believe that I'm someone who reflects, learns, and improves, and that that's exactly what the Brisbane Channel will do as well. Of course, if you want to buy me a coffee, I won't try to stop you. Thanks in advance, and I'll see you in the next video. It was a bit of a mess, but anyway. It is what it is.